Can you hear me?
I mean, can you hear what's outside of me right now?
Wait, I have like the music queued up, so give me 1 second. We're back. It's January 30th. I can hear people cutting their grass. Yeah.
Yeah, is it like really loud? Because they're right there.
No, but like,
Alright.
it's not terrible.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal. Definitely not. That's terrible. Either way, we're back to another day of the NBA show. A beautiful day we have here, and hopefully the people landscaping Jackson's. I guess are you home back in the apartment?
No, I'm at my dad's right now.
I would say Pete,
Sarasota.
Sarasota. I knew your dad lived in that area, but either way. So right as we start today's show, we're gonna have to pivot. We're gonna talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. We're gonna talk about the Sixers. We're gonna talk about the Wizards. We're gonna talk about the Bucks. We're gonna talk about the Clippers. We're gonna talk right now about the NBA trade deadline. And you're going, why? Well, Shams Charania just dropped the inside pass, and with that being said, that's his inside scoop of everything going on in the NBA. My thought process is we better cover that because those are going to be what everyone's going to be talking about today. And let's get right into it. How are you doing, Jackson? Let's hear how bad that.
It's all good right now.
It's not as bad right now. When they're far away, it's not as bad. When they're right
they
by
should
the window.
They should be done with the house like right now. But before we get into it, I have 2 comments actually. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. We're trying to hit 2,000 subs, but we didn't really talk too much about Rivals Week. It was a huge success. The new implementation of Rivals Week. It was a huge, massive success.
I mean, depends how you define success. If we drop the schedule to 72, it would be better because not as many guys would rest.
Definitely. I'm a huge advocate of shrinking the schedule, but
I think 72 games only. 72 games because it gets rid of back-to-backs. If you take away 10 games, no more back-to-backs.
I do think back-to-back should be
eliminated.
Yeah. I think, but like the Lakers Celtics end of Rivals Week was awesome. Like
Warriors, that was cool.
Raptors was nice. A new rival that they're trying to push is Raptors Sixers. I think that was a very successful game. Nets Knicks was successful. So I think for the most part, it was a great Rivals Week. I think they did a good job.
No, they did a phenomenal job with Rival Week. The one thing that I wanted to take from it was there were a few guys who sat, and I think the rhetoric that the NBA season doesn't need to go to 50, doesn't need to go to 60. We did 2 seasons of 72, the bubble year and the year after the bubble year. We played 72 games. There's no back-to-back, which will mean less in guys resting. I just think 72 games is perfect. I think everyone, the NBA Player Association, the NBA, they can agree on 72 because if you take 10 games away, there's no more back-to-backs. And that's everyone's big problem is back-to-backs.
Yeah. It's so annoying, dude, because like I can tell you if you're my coach and I'm, any of these players, like, and I just need a night off. Like sometimes you also just need a night off to rest your body, but then, random, they'll be like, oh, yeah, his obliques.
I don't hate resting. I understand resting.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a fan, I'm just saying that, like, 72 games, there'll be less resting.
Yeah.
Now, let's pivot over here. And Shams Charania just dropped the NBA trade deadline. What Shams is hearing about the Raptors and trade talks around the league. So we'll just go in and we'll start each one of these and we'll talk about the topics. We won't spend a ton of time because we're not trying to make this the whole show. But let's hop in and let's talk about, obviously the Toronto Raptors with the NBA trade deadline heating up on February 9th, which is basically, I guess that's 9 days away, 10 days away. And we're basically ready to see everything start to unfold. Everybody views the Toronto Raptors as this year's swing team because Masai Ujiri and general manager Bobby Webster have 2 core pieces in OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam that people are saying that they want Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell trade packages for, while Fred VanVleet's got interest from the Phoenix Suns and Orlando Magic, and Gary Trent Jr.'s got league interest across the league. And because the Raptors season has been a disappointment, the 23-28, 12th in the Eastern Conference standings, rival teams have been informed that the franchise will make a decision about being a buyer or seller or even just standing pat near the deadline. And according to league sources who, like all, speak, with anonymity. So the Raptors are currently 2-1 on their 6-game road trip. That road trip ends on February 5th. Basically, if they fucking bottom out in this road trip, that could really just mean that, and somebody gives them the high price tag, because supposedly OG Anunoby's already gotten 3 first-round pick offers from the New York Knicks. VanVleet's got offers. I'm saying, the Orlando Magic call you up and they're like, here's Mo Bamba, Cole Anthony, and Gary Harris. Send us Fred VanVleet and Thad Young. I'd be like, and I'm a Magic fan. I think that's a win-win right there. And the crazy part is that everybody's, what's the crazy part about this is Nick Nurse is expected to come into focus this summer because he's entering the final year of his contract. Because after the 2019 and 20 season, when they won the championship, and Nick Nurse was now, regarded as one of the best coaches in the league, he signed an extension through the 23 to 24 season with an $8 million per year annual salary. So the length of the deal is not what's important, but the frustration with the staff, the roster, and the point of play has all been directed at Nick Nurse at times. So what are your thoughts right here after my big rant?
The Raps it's difficult. Could it be a smokescreen, the 3 picks for OG, or is a team like the Knicks really that interested in him? Which actually makes a lot of sense, but I think Fred probably gets traded. I don't think Gary will get traded, and I don't think Gary should get traded.
You don't trade it. You trade age, not youth.
Gary's awesome. The thing is, like, Fred, he's been playing a lot more. He's himself right now. So it's like something difficult because they have to kind of figure out, like, are we going to tank this year, or not tank, but like, are we going to retweak this team again? Can Pascal Siakam, an all NBA player, can he be our number 1 option, or do we have to?
I say trade. You trade VanVleet because, and then you just say, hey, if we tank this season, that's fine. The only guy we trade is VanVleet. We go into the draft with a high-ass lottery pick.
They would do, yeah. I mean, Pascal
what they did,
definitely rest more, and they could give Scotty Barnes more free range.
Yeah, what they did to get Scotty Barnes. People don't realize the year that they got Scotty Barnes, they tanked.
Yeah, that was a horrible Tampa Bay Raptor year. That was brutal.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, it's just the issue with that is then, and it's happening right now, I guess, with Nick Nurse. I wasn't even aware of that. Is, people are going to start to be, they're not going to be happy.
I put together a trade. It just Shab Sharadia in this thing. I trade. The Bucks trade I've been pushing this whole month. Shab Sharadia just fucking said that's the trade that happened. The whole trade. We're gonna scroll down right here, but we're gonna keep talking about this. But my trade for the Jay Crowder trade, I was like, oh, they're probably gonna just send like Wara, Hill, Serge Ibaka, a 2nd-round pick. Sham Sharadia said that's the deal that the Bucks offered and said take it or leave it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I just want to say we give ourselves a round of applause because that's the deal we said. We're like, they're not trading Grayson Allen.
I'm very surprised by that because of his contract.
But Grayson Allen's actually kind of solid, and imagine having Grayson Allen and Jay Crowder. You offered the bottom of the guys that you're not playing.
I'm not. Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, Grayson Allen. I don't know. I thought Grayson Allen, and I still think Grayson Allen will get traded.
Yeah, no,
but I'm not. But yeah, Jordan Warren in that trade, I think that makes a lot more sense because I don't think it panned out necessarily exactly how either party wanted.
I don't. Yeah, I think it hasn't panned out as quick as they wanted to, and I don't think Jordan Warren is a bad player, but a lot of Bucks guys were great. We'll continue. I just want to finish this Raptors stuff real quick. With the Toronto Raptors, though, it's interesting to think about because I think the decision that needs to be made here with the Toronto Raptors is, are they going to blow it up? And if they don't blow it up, are they willing to pay the luxury tax? Because I think that's always the thing in the back of people's mind is, let's just go into the luxury tax. But then at the same time, it's like, is this team worth paying the luxury tax for? Because everyone, and like exactly like that, is that this team might not be worth going into the luxury tax for. And that's where it just gets really difficult, because you have to make those decisions. Which players are worth investing, $250 million to? Who, and that's where it comes down to, okay, is the core going to be Gary Trent, Scotty, Pascal, and OG, or OG and Pascal on the same timeline? Gary Trent age-wise is on the same timeline as Scotty, but how can this team be maximized while you still have Scotty Barnes on a rookie contract? Because in 2 years, you're going to have to pay Scotty. In a year and a half, you're going to have to pay Scotty. So this is always just going to get difficult.
Time's clicking. You want to, and a good report I saw was Siakam's he still wants to be in Toronto regardless of what happens. So I'm glad you bring up that point, because somebody's going to have to go regardless. If it's Fred, if it's OG, if it's Gary, no matter who it's going to be, somebody's going to have to leave this team in order for them to get to that next level. And I also think one enticing part to me about a possible retool and tank this season is giving the keys to Precious Achiuwa, because he's a legitimate starting big in this league.
If they do decide to tank, or if they stand pat, keep their players, and Pascal and OG suffer mysterious injuries, they should be playing Malachi Flynn, Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, Christian Coloco, and
Delano Banton.
Yeah, do they still have Sean Penny?
No,
did they cut Sean Penny, right? Yeah, I think they cut Sean Penny. So yeah, they should just play those guys and try to get a high draft pick. Now let's pivot. Guess who was granted permission to speak to the Bucks? Yes, this is happening. The Milwaukee Bucks are meeting Jay Crowder in a new development. The Suns have been granted permission to meet with Jay Crowder. The Suns have granted the Bucks permission to meet with Jay Crowder. I said that weird. Yeah, I said that weird. I said that weird, and I realized I said it weird. The Suns have given permission to the Milwaukee Bucks to meet with Jay Crowder. This is from The Athletic. The Bucks are believed to be the only team that has received permission to visit one-on-one with Crowder. Those sources have also indicated multiple teams, including the Miami Heat and the Hawks, remain interested in Jay Crowder, who is seen by championship contending teams as a fortifying acquisition at the trade deadline. Now, both the Suns and Bucks have had serious engagements about this. We talked about this here on the NBA show. We talked about it on my personal channel, that there was a proposal that they put out there, and they just told the Suns, this is the offer, take it or leave it. We're not improving it. And I looked at the salary caps, I looked at everything, and I said that deal had to be Jordan Nwora, George Hill, and Serge Ibaka, because Serge Ibaka about a week and a half ago was granted, to be away from the team until they find him a trade. And I said they probably would throw in a second-round pick, nothing more, nothing less. And why would they do that? George Hill's their fourth, guard at this point. Jordan Nwora, they signed him to an extension. He's tradable now. He's got another year on his extension. So the Suns kind of look at him as a reclamation project, because it's not like he's a bust or anything. He was a second-round pick who showed flashes but then became unplayable in the playoffs. So you can't play Jordan Nwora in the playoffs. He's somebody that's just going to take a little bit more time. And with that being said, I think, sending him to the Suns could use him because they need some, backup wings, and losing Jay Crowder, he helps. And then Serge Ibaka, now they have Bismack Biyombo and Jock Landale. And if one of those two guys get hurt behind DeAndre Ayton, you have a fourth big in Serge Ibaka. And right now the Bucks are allegedly searching for a third team to provide Phoenix with a forward. So what comes now, we don't know. But with that being said, when I think of that, I'm like, oh, they probably are cool with George Hill, maybe Jordan Nwora, but they probably don't want Ibaka, or maybe they don't even want Jordan Nwora because they realize we can't play in the playoffs. So they're calling up the Phoenix Suns, and they're like, they're calling up the Phoenix Suns and they're like, hey, we want to do this deal, but I know you guys don't want Nwora, so let's call up the Rockets. The Rockets really like young guys. So maybe Rockets are like, oh, Jordan Nwora could be become the vet in the room, who's 23, 24. Maybe we can say, here's Ibaka and Nwora, and we send them all 6 second-round picks, and they send us Jae'Sean Tate to the Suns, something like that. That's just me speaking into the dark. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, Jay Crowder on the Bucks works for me.
Would you like you're somewhat of a Rockets fan? Would you like Jordan Nwora on the Rockets? He'd be like an older guy in the room. He has playoff experience. If you lost Jay Sean Tate,
He's not very old.
I know, but he's what, 3 years in the league now, or 2 years in the league?
That's
With
not
like,
very old.
I know, but like with playoff basketball experience, he would be like one of the only young guys on the Rockets to have playoff experience. I know.
It's
Obviously,
enticing. I mean,
but Jordan Nwora is over here. He's 24. He's been in the league since 2020. This is his 3rd season. He's won a championship.
yeah. I mean, I would like it's interesting. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not, ready to give up valuable assets.
1 second. Oh, so what team would be your 3rd team?
I mean, I have no idea. Like, for Jordan Nwora?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, who would you find as the 3rd team? Would you call up the Utah Jazz?
Well, why isn't he going to the Suns?
Who? Oh, because the Suns want a 3rd team. I guess like they don't want Jordan Nwora or Serge Ibaka. They're like,
Okay, that makes sense. Because I mean, Serge would be nice in the locker room, but I don't think Jordan Nwora. I don't think Phoenix is a good spot for him. Man, I can't think of too many teams right now, but maybe a squad like Toronto, if they do decide to take a different approach, maybe a team like Utah could be interested, or maybe a team like the Thunder could be interested. Probably a younger rising team.
Yeah, I think it has to be a young rising team. And I think right here, when you look at it, I just think this is a deal that I don't think there should be a 3rd team. If there's anything that you look at this deal, I think the deal's good. I think the Suns, if they're being a little hesitant on the deal, ask for, they offered 4 second-round picks for Eric Gordon. Maybe ask for an extra 2nd round. I'm not going to say ask for 4 second-round picks for Jake Crowder, but maybe ask for 1 or 2 and keep the deal the same, because I think you get a forward in Jordan Nwora, and you also get yourself a guard in George Hill, who's not actually terrible. Also, did you know? Okay, Jordan Nwara's dad, I believe it is. Yeah, Jordan Nwara's dad is the coach. Is like a college basketball coach too. So like, I'm actually like a huge fan of Jordan Nwora. He's a community college basketball coach for the last 24 years.
Cool.
Yeah, same community college for 24 years. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And he also, I guess he is the head coach of the Nigerian. He was the head coach of the Nigerian basketball team. And now, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think it's something that could work out for both parties. I don't know. But let's move over. Guess who's on we have to do our daily trade talk about a guy named John Collins. Collins and the Rockets are talking. But let me read you. So as you guys know, Landry Fields is the new head of basketball operations, and they've won 6 of the last 9 games since January 13. And this team, the Atlanta Hawks, have been the patient approach for trade talks. Fields has made it clear to rival executives that they view John Collins like they should, as a valuable asset, not one that the franchise will simply dump in any form. And this newfound approach could lead to more traction in Collins' market over the next 2 weeks. The Utah Jazz seriously remain interested in John Collins. And the Athletic's Kelly Iko reported last week that the Houston Rockets have joined the pursuit in John Collins. When the Jazz and Hawks discussed a Collins deal, it was centered around Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt, according to sources. And the Jazz countered by asking for a 1st-round pick in return, which the Hawks rightfully declined. Now talks have stalled. It remains to be seen what will unfold with Fields and the Jazz front office led by Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think is going to happen? And let's get right at it. Jackson, if you're the Rockets, I don't think the Rockets are in this, but at this point, I think it's just the Utah Jazz who are interested in John Collins.
Yeah, I don't want the Rockets to be interested in JC. I don't think they are. Right? So that's not too bad of a bad trade. I'm not shocked Atlanta said no, but I mean, we've talked about I really like the fit with Utah because I think it's pretty enticing. It's not like John Collins is on a horrible contract, but he's not having a great season. So a team like Utah definitely could swoop in and get him at a low price. And some type of combination of John Collins, Laurie. I mean, they're just acquiring talent. So I do like the idea of John Collins heading to the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I just think the best deal out there is Utah. For a situation for John Collins, I think Utah's the best situation for John Collins, that it gives him a place where he can grow his game next to Lowry Marketing. And B, I think this is the best situation for the Atlanta Hawks because the Hawks, it's the only team out there that they give them Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and I've also said in that deal so far, you could arguably, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, you could ask them and be like, hey, could you maybe throw in like Rudy Gay and get a third player?
He's about to get bought out. I don't.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not
it's
gonna tickle my fancy, but Mike Connolly would, or Jordan Clarkson would. Who else? I'm missing somebody. Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, but it's $23 million, and if you have Jared Vanderbilt already in the dude, we're so stupid. Do this deal: John Collins for Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, and Simone Fontecchio. Boom. No picks involved. Let's shake the hand. Simone Fontecchio can be your poor man's. Like, think about this.
Yeah,
if you did the deal, Simone
they
Fontecchio,
don't view him
Danilo
the same way
Gallinari
you do.
2.0. Okay, Jared Vanderbilt. It's just perfect.
It's not perfect because they don't view Simone the same way you do. For good reason. The 3.5 point per game player has no trade value.
He has so much trade value.
He has no trade value.
Everybody just doesn't know what they're missing out on Simone Fontecchio.
And exactly, and the Utah Jazz are sitting at number 1 on that list.
I'm just saying, Simone Fontecchio, Jared Vanderbilt, and our guy, Malik Beasley, which they've said every player on the Utah Jazz roster, not named Lowry Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, and Walker Kessler are available for trade. So I'd be like, okay, send me Simone Fontecchio so I get a replacement for Danilo Gallinari. Then Malik Beasley will help out AJ Griffin and Bogdan Bogdanovic off the bench. And then Jared Vanderbilt will be the power forward that replaces John Collins in the lineup. And then we have a big man rotation of Onyeka Okongwu, Jared Vanderbilt, and Clint Capella. Maybe in the buyout market, they pick up Terrence Ross or Rudy Gay or whoever in the power forward market becomes available. I think it's a win-win situation.
Well, the idea is cool, but I think it's a little bit more of a fantasy. I'm trying to figure out but I don't. Jerry, that's 20. So they have 4 to 5 mil to play with. So I mean, yeah, Simone is really one of the only.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that not a bad deal? Just throw in there. It's not a bad deal. It just if you can convince them, like no picks involved, and you tell me they'll do that and they'll send you Simone. Not a bad deal.
I really like the idea. I really like Simone, and I really want him to play more for this team. But I don't know because if they're viewing John Collins as they should, I mean, he's a good player. So I just don't think it's enough. And a first round pick, I don't know. I mean, that's probably better than maybe Simone and a first. Maybe that's a lot better.
Yeah. So let's pivot and talk about the Charlotte Hornets. As you guys know, my girlfriend's favorite basketball player, Mason Plumlee, is available for a first-round pick. And I put out a tweet saying that as much as I love Mason Plumlee and that he's having a career year, I wouldn't even give up a protected first-round pick for Mason. But I'd give you 2 second-round picks. Okay, it's an expiring contract, and he would be just an elite backup big for a team unless a catastrophic injury in the next 10 days happens to somebody starting center on a championship team. So I doubt that happens. Kelly Oubre is available for Dre Talk. He's a little bit harder to gauge because he did suffer, a wrist or a hand injury, and that's just going to take a little bit of time. But the big name is Jalen McDaniels. the Suns, the Raptors, the Jazz, the Pacers, and the San Antonio Spurs have all hit up the Charlotte Hornets for Jalen McDaniels as a player who's a 6'9" forward. He's 24 years old. He's the brother that's 2 years older than Jaden McDaniels, the Timberwolves Swiss Army knife. Man played for San Diego State, unlike his brother who played for the University of Washington. Teams with interest are projected to have cap space this off season, as McDaniels may opt out to wait till free agency to court McDaniels instead of a trade, such as the Pacers, Spurs, and Jazz, because McDaniels will be unrestricted. But at the same time, most of these teams might pull the trigger now because of trading assets so they can get first dibs on him and develop a report. What are your thoughts? I just think the Charlotte Hornets, if they would have sold, they would have sold earlier in the year because they're already bad with these players.
I like Jalen. I don't think they should get rid of him, but definitely trade Mason. Definitely trade Oubre. Definitely try to trade Hayward. I don't think it'll work, but definitely try and trade as many pieces as you can.
I just think it's like, look, if the Hornets were gonna be sellers, I mean, this team's already in the brick for Vic conversation without even really trying. They have the same team they did last year. They're arguably the worst team with the Pistons and the Rockets, and so right here they don't even have to trade anyone to be putting them in the tank for Vic. But the thing is, I guess trading these players will give you the assets that if you wanted to not only draft the superstar this offseason, you can maybe even make a big old trade, do a sign and trade of a Miles Bridges or something, because you still got Miles Bridges as a restricted free agent, which that whole situation's weird. And because they denied talking to him and denied that they were going to sign him. I bet you the NBA called them and was like, look, if this report is freaking true that you're thinking about bringing Miles Bridges, no, make that motherfucker sit. But goddamn. This is weird, and I think just time will tell what's going to happen in Charlotte, but I don't know. Moving on. The Dallas Mavericks have made Dorian Finney-Smith available. That's shocking. Are you surprised by that one?
For star caliber player? Oh.
Yeah. Are you?
No,
why?
It doesn't shock me at all. Well, there's two sides to all these tales, and a lot of people, when looking at Luka Doncic and this team, is, oh wow, yeah, like obviously they're not that good because he's surrounded by DFS and Dwight Powell for the last 3 years. But I mean, I like DFS a lot. I just think that, and in fact, I don't think DFS is the guy to trade from the Dallas Mavericks.
I agree. I
don't know what they're gonna do to get. They need another star player there, but I mean, you got to carefully select it almost because of, I mean, it's got to work on and off the court with Luka.
Yeah, no, I think this is a weird situation because the Jazz are now expressing interest in Dorian Finney-Smith. And teams have gotten the impression that Dallas is open to moving DFS, the 29-year-old, in a right deal for a star caliber player. However, the Mavericks hold an incredible high price threshold for teams reaching out about Finney-Smith. In 7 seasons with the Mavericks, Finney-Smith has established himself as a critical two-way wing, well liked within the organization and by teammates, and is considered an important player for the team's culture, including being a favorite of MVP candidate Luka Doncic. But it's clear that Finney-Smith has also become one of Dallas's main trade pieces if a blockbuster deal became available for a all-star player ahead of this deadline or in the offseason. As you know, last season, Dorian Finney-Smith signed a 4-year, $55 million deal that places him under contract through the 25 season with a player option for the 25 to 26 season. And I just sit here and I think, what deal so that's basically like $12-13 million he's making a year, something like that in the teens almost. And it makes it interesting because you think, okay, if you're trading for a star player, that's going to either include Christian Wood or Spencer Dinwiddie. And what player can you package Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie for salary-wise that matches right there? And it's got to be someone in the low 30s. And there's really no one, in my opinion, that sits right there and is actually able to be brought in, because you're thinking right there, are you trading for D'Angelo Russell? Are you trading for and does D'Angelo Russell put you over? Because you could get D'Angelo Russell if you package Dorian Finney-Smith and Christian Wood, but does that really put you over? I don't think so. And Jamal Murray's not available for trade. I mean, are you trying to sign and trade for Kyrie in the offseason? It just becomes right here. What is the deal that you're looking for? Because I don't think there's anyone is Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, like are those guys you're looking for? Again, I don't think those are the ones that are moving the needle. And I know if you do Jalen, if you do Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, you can also go up to the 40s, but there's no one really in the 40s. You train for Paul George, train for Bradley Beal, or I don't know if any of those players are going to be available, and that's where it becomes weird. Thoughts?
Are you making videos?
Huh? Yeah.
I don't like that because it's not a conversation. It's like more like you talk for a couple of minutes and it's like I don't know, it feels screwed. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of it. Like, oh yeah, I don't like it.
I like record
because thoughts on what? You just said shit for 4 straight minutes.
2 minutes. 2
I'm
minutes.
Not sure.
Also, everybody who's watching, 10 viewers, like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the way to 2,000. Check out Jackson's channel
before All-Star Weekend.
Yeah,
which is the boldest. It's the boldest wish of all time.
Bold. We're bold.
Like, it's creeping up. It's like probably 2.5 weeks away.
I just don't see who they're trading for.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't.
There's no trade available.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't like we agreed. I don't know. I don't think DFS is not the issue, but he's a valuable player. So,
and let's do the last one right here. The Denver Nuggets are exploring trade value for Bones Highland. That if you don't know, Bones Highland last week, it came out that he actually does not get along with Mike Malone. He frequently butts heads with Mike Malone. Like Mike Malone and Bones Highland do not like each other, like at all. And Bones Highland was drafted by Tim Conley, who's now the general manager and head of basketball operations for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Naz Reid and Jalen Noel are 2 players that are frustrated with their roles and are leaning towards leaving the team this offseason via free agency. And Jalen Noel is the 6th man for the Timberwolves, while Naz Reid's the backup big, and they're both expiring contracts, and a deal of Bones Highland and Zeke Nnaji works. Would you do Bones Highland, Zeke Nnaji? I believe Zeke Nnaji has 1 more year on his deal, and Bones Highland would have 2 more years on his deal, and they both would be restricted free agents, while Naz Reid and Jalen Noel would be expiring, so maybe you throw in 2 second-round picks. But, yeah, Zeke Nnaji, what do you think of that?
Man, that kind of sucks that Jalen Noel wants to get out of Minnesota. I really like him.
I love him, but yeah. He's made it clear, like supposedly Naz Reid and Jalen Noel made it clear they're not signing extensions. Like they want to leave Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of in the after shadows. I think that trade is really – honestly, I think the Denver kind of screws Minnesota a little bit because Jalen Noel and Naz Reid take Denver to the next level. And I think it was very, very –
I don't think it screws because they send 2 players who have an additional deal on their – additional year on their deals.
I like Zeke Nnaji a lot. I really do. I don't know if he's – and, I guess Minnesota's not going to compete probably for a championship this year. And Bones Highland, I love the idea of Bones to Minnesota, but I think
it gives them insurance. If D'Lo leaves, Bones could be the future starter.
Possibly, but it's just a nice spark plug off of the bench at worst case.
And a good replacement for Noel.
Naz Reid on Denver fixes, and like those 2 players on Denver, as a Warrior final predictor, that really worries me. Because it was very clear when Joel Embiid dropped 47 on Nikola Jokic that they have 0 rim protection.
All right, don't act like Naz Reid's 6'7", 6'9", 6'8" ass is gonna give them that. I think Naz Reid might be 6'7", dude.
I'm gonna take Naz Reid's defense. I'm gonna take a blocking game off the bench.
I know Naz Reid can protect the rim, but let's not say Naz Reid is 6'9".
Naz Reid is one of the more underrated bench players in the National
Basketball Association. I agree. 5-star recruit out of LSU, man.
And I'm saying Denver needs guys like Naz Reid.
Yeah,
it's their flaw. It's their one and only flaw.
Okay, but In the playoffs, you're not benching Jokic for Reed.
No, I know, but Boogie played for him last year. I'm gonna destroy Boogie when I need a rim
Okay, yeah,
protector
you're
in.
right.
Maybe
Is
Naz
Reed
Reid
better
isn't
than
the
Boogie
best.
or DeAndre Jordan? Yes,
Yeah,
Reed.
100%. They need to upgrade that position.
Yeah, we 100. Okay. When you put it like that, okay, yes, because in a way, the way you were talking first was like, oh, we're gonna bench Jokic to whenever we play like someone that can beat. I was like, nah, maybe you just put Reed. But yeah, no, I agree. It
No, I
is.
just think, I think Naz. I mean, because it sounds like wherever he's gonna go, he's gonna leave in general. Maybe unless it's Toronto, but Precious Achiuwa's a stud and Siakam's a stud. So it seems like Naz Reid, no matter where he goes, if it's Minnesota or if he gets traded, the team probably is going to be good. And they're probably not going to put him as a starting center, and he's probably going to want to leave.
No, I agree, and that's a great point that you put right there. So let's pivot over here and let's talk about something that came out yesterday. The JJ files that supposedly JJ is not a defensive player of the year, that everything he's doing is just fake stats, and it went so viral that the NBA had to put out a press release.
Yeah.
And then Kirk Goldsberg put out a tweet, it's in our group chat, and basically said right here,
F that report.
He saw the thread.
Look at every single block.
Yeah, I watched all of what.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, he had 56 blocks or something like that,
66,
and he was like,
and he said
66, 61 of them are good.
Yeah, 60 of them are good.
Undisputed.
3 to 5 are questionable, and 2 are kind of sus.
Yeah,
which means 6 out, and now he's at 108 blocks on the season or some shit since this report came out.
5 last night.
5 last night. God.
And now there's eyes on him, and people are gonna. I think I agree with whoever said that this cemented Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, it didn't hurt his case at all. It probably is some salty Warriors fan or something like that. I don't know who it is who made that Reddit, but it's really annoying because you got all these NBA casuals saying like my buddy Nick, I get back from wherever I was Saturday night and he's like, did you see the Jaren Jackson Jr. files? I'm like, no, I saw that get debunked. What? No, so I'm worried NBA fans now think Jaren Jackson Jr.'s stats are just inflated and that he's not an elite number 1 defender in the NBA.
It's not as bad as the NFL's being rigged. The NFL's rigged.
Last night was...
The NFL's rigged, dude. The NFL's rigged. Like, I never ever questioned the NFL being rigged. Never questioned the NFL. This year, dude, I think 3 or 4 times the NFL being rigged has trended. And I'm not saying rigged in the sense that they're fixing games, but their officiating is pushing the people they want into.
It is annoying. And it happens like 10 years later. They'll be like, yeah, this ref bet on games. And
I bet you.
Fired him. Like, okay, well, not, how do we make that not happen? But I guess it's automation.
Back to the Jaren Jackson Jr. thing. The thing that people don't realize is Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing on the best defensive team in the league. Okay, when you're playing on the best defensive team, you're going to have great defensive stats because playing defense is going to come a lot easier because everyone's playing good defense. Second, Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing next to a guy who in any other year would also be a top 5 defensive player of the year candidate in Dillon Brooks. Mm-hmm. He's also playing next to Steven Adams, John Conchar, all right, Santi Aldama, all good defenders. When you're playing around, guys who actually play defense, it makes your life a lot easier. So I just think that's one thing that pisses me off, that people aren't. And it's not like Jaren Jackson has never done this. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good basketball player.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's also shooting 37% from 3 on 17 points a night. Jaren Jackson Jr. as a whole is having a career year. And
he was a DPOY guy last year, 2.3 blocks. He's been averaging a block and a half ever since he came into. This is an all defensive player. This is a guy, a block champion last year. This is a guy who has gotten a steal and a block and a half ever since he came in as a rookie. And I can't believe people I just can't believe that those files existed.
It's preposterous.
I can't believe it went viral.
Now let's pivot over and let's talk about your favorite team to talk about, a team that you always make fun of me for, and for my love for them. a team that I think is legit, a team that deserves recognition, a team that one might say is surging since an acquisition. All right. And do you know who that team is that I'm about to tell you about? Do you know?
Not the Kansas Jayhawks.
Hey, don't talk. We're talking about the Wizards, baby.
Yeah.
You know what the Wizards are doing? They're 9th in the Eastern
Winning.
Conference, 23-26. All right. Guess what? The Wizards are 6-4 in their last 10 games. Winners of 5 in a row. My man Kristaps Porzingis is hurt too.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a team we're playing basketball. What the, but
Well, they've won 5 straight now, and right 5 straight, and now I
yeah,
believe KP is playing tonight, or he's at least he's ready to go, or he's available.
I think
and
he
I
is
believe he's going
available.
to play.
Yeah.
So, but man, that the Kendrick Nunn trade, I was a huge fan of that because I like Rui. He clearly had his flaws. Kendrick Nunn, it was pretty perfect trade, and they got 3 second-round picks. That's kind of crazy to think about, and they're narrowing that roster down now.
Yeah, Kendrick Nunn in 2 games is averaging 12 points a night for us off the bench.
It's cool. He's right there with DeLon, and I've always been a big DeLon fan. So, yeah.
And he's like
Shout out to
shooting
Washington.
decently well. Like I've said it before, I really like this idea because as much as like Kendrick Nunn was just a salary filler, I wasn't going to sit here and be like, oh, Kendrick Nunn was the missing piece. No, but Kendrick Nunn, you know what he did was give us a point guard committee. People are used to the phrase center by committee when the Warriors had like Andrew Bogut, Kevon Looney, and like James Michael McAdoo. You remember, or like Fedis Azealia when they would like that they had those 3 centers rotating. For us, it's we got a rotating backcourt because Monte Morris was cool, but you couldn't play Monte Morris 30 minutes. It's just like that's not what you wanted. Okay, it's not what he is. And DeLon Wright, you couldn't play him 25 minutes because again, but now that you bring in Kendrick Nunn and Kendrick Nunn plays 20 minutes, then you give maybe like 15 to DeLon, and then you give like another 15 to Monte. You just split it up basically like 16, 16, 16, and then you run 3 guards, and each of them give you something different. Monte Morris is like the best offensive version of them, like in terms of being like a floor general, and then you got Kendrick Nunn, the defensive microwave type guy, and then DeLon Wright's more the defensive guy, while Nunn can also play defense. So I think it gives them a good variation of guards that, depending on the matchup, that they can plug and play that they've been missing.
I don't agree.
Oh, okay. Fuck you. Go kill yourself.
Well, Monty's still going to see high 20s. DeLon's still going to see 25, but now you have Kendrick Nunn who's going to chip in 15.
He can play shooting guard, not just point guard.
So I think, DeLon's been dealing with some injuries this year. I think injuries have really been unideal at this point in the season. Kristaps going down, Beal being down for half of the season. DeLon Wright's he's a starting capable guy, and I think he's a nice complementary piece. And now you're surrounding him with scorers on the bench, I think is a good idea. Yeah, like you said with Kendrick Nunn, we'll see what the future holds for him. I don't know if it'll be in Washington, but it would be cool.
Yeah, I don't think it's in Washington.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to re-sign him, but like he'll rebuild his value with Washington this season.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me do an update on Kristaps Porzingis, and they're saying Kristaps Porzingis is back. He is back.
He's back. Good for him.
Yeah, no, I know. It's huge. And I just want to make sure he didn't play he didn't play this past game. So he's back after a 9-day absent.
Mm.
And he was there for the first 2 wins. So they've won 3 games without him. Also, have you watched Shrinking yet with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford?
Jason Segel? Is it Jason Segel?
Yeah, Marshall from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, wait. No, yeah, I'm thinking of a different Segel. No, I don't know what that is. What is that?
You're thinking about, is it Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal. That's
Steven Seagal, yeah. Steven Seagal, yes. The social representative for, isn't he like this? Steven Seagal, dude, that guy's so fucking funny.
He does a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he was. He was in some. He was an actor that was chosen by somebody because someone made him a bet that he couldn't make anyone famous, and then Steven Seagal walked in the room and he's like, I could make that guy famous, and they just made him famous out on a bet. I'm like not kidding. I'm not even kidding. Have you seen Trading Places?
No.
Okay, in that movie, they make a bet that like this rich guy and Eddie Murphy, who was a homeless guy, could trade places for $1. So these two rich guys fire the rich guy and hire the homeless guy and make the homeless guy super rich, make the rich guy super poor, and then when it happens, they just give each other $1.
Damn.
Yeah. So then the whole movie's about how Eddie Murphy and the rich guy get back at the two old rich guys.
Oh, okay.
For a penny. Because you know what I mean? Because they get pissed off because they did a bet for $1. So Eddie Murphy and the rich guy were like, okay, we'll do it for a penny. So at the end of the movie, they're like, oh, by the way, you guys are poor now. And we're like, we did this all for a penny. And then just like because they short sold the stocks of the orange.
Like seems oranges. Like a cool plot. I'm not gonna understand all this.
It's from the 80s. Yeah. What up, TP? Glad you can make it. Jalen Johnson, thanks for hanging out with us. Art H, thank you. Everyone who's hanging out with us today, we do appreciate it. And as we over here, let's pivot and talk about a team named. You know what team we're talking about? The team that actually is legit. This team is unstoppable. The Philadelphia 76ers. God damn it. A team that we thought was, down and under. We were on the fire. Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
What are they? Like winners of like 15 of the last 20?
Yeah. 16 of the last 20, I believe.
16 of the last 20. Yeah, 16 of their last 20. So they've basically lost 3 games since, I think, December 9th.
Dang.
Yeah, 3 games since December 9th. What up, Jacob Sudgren?
This team started 0-3.
0-3, dude. We literally had shows where we were sitting here and I was like, Doc needs to be moved on. Doc needs to be moved on. Again, do I believe Doc Rivers will be fired after this season? Yes, if they flame out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think if this team does not make it to the conference finals, they fire Doc Rivers, though.
I agree.
I do agree. Because they know they have to do something.
And I don't think that's that bad of a call if they don't make it there. But who knows? No, they're the number 2 team in the East now.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. And the crazy part is James Harden is being this new version of James Harden.
Yeah.
And it's because James Harden, you're lying if you don't think James Harden hasn't lost a step. James Harden has lost a step. And it's not like, oh my God, he's bad. No, it's just like James Harden had to change his game. James Harden wasn't this guy who's going to sit there, ISO, crossover, and beat you to the rack now. He can only beat certain players to the rack. But for example, let's just look at the month of January. For the month of January, James Harden has become a 20-point scorer who dishes out 11.5 assists. He's basically leading the NBA in assists, I think it is. And he's grabbing almost 7 rebounds and getting a steal a night, just playing really good basketball and getting, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris involved. But not only that, Georges Niang, Anthony Milton. And guess what? We talked about this guy and said, wow, it's crazy that they're not playing him because he's so perfect for them to come off the bench and give him that spark plug. And guess what his name is? Montrezl Harrell's coming in now for like 15 minutes a night and just giving you a quick 8 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. And yeah, we have to give credit. Joel Embiid, for the month of January, he's averaging 35 points. For the season, he's averaging over 30. Joel Embiid's a freaking menace. Shout out to the University of Kansas.
Well, he won the game against Jokic, and he completely embarrassed Nikola Jokic at the end of the game. I mean, he dropped 47 on his head. I mean, MVP talks. But yeah, James Harden is averaging a career high in assists right now, tying his career high in assists. He's completely changed his game. He's had a bunch of hamstring injuries, especially. He's 33, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's going to give them the best chance to win. I think the Tyrese Maxey move to the bench was a game changer. I think it's completely game changing. No disrespect to their bench, but they needed that prolific scorer coming off there, and Anthony Melton in the starting unit gives them a great blend of threes, facilitator, defender, and Maxey comes in and he closes the game out in the fourth quarter. So I think they've found their rotation. They found what works clearly with all these wins. I'm curious to see if they decide to do anything at the deadline.
Yeah, I wonder too. And I just think this is a solid team that they're hot. And if they continue to play like this into the playoffs, they will be one of my favorites to go into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it can be a little slow to watch.
Oh yeah, it can be slow as hell to watch. So I don't like watching the Sixers because it's a very slow game. But the Milwaukee Bucks, as long as Giannis Antetokounmpo is here, you got to consider them to be a team to be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But do you think is Chris Middleton the one thing holding them back?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, Chris Middleton has returned.
Yeah, well, Chris Middleton's health was holding them back, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is Chris Middleton's health holding them back? Like, if Chris Middleton gets hurt again, are you counting them out?
Yeah, 100%. Well, we saw it last year. Chris Middleton's a closer, and if Chris Middleton isn't Chris Middleton, I would have concerns. But he's coming off. Is he starting yet? I don't know if he's starting yet.
I don't know.
He was coming off the bench for a lot of these games. I think he's coming off the bench right now, and
I think so.
He's playing less than 20 minutes a night. I mean, he's working his way back, so it is something to keep an eye on, I would say. But Pat Connaughton has done a phenomenal job, especially as of late. I think Drew Holiday is probably the most underrated guard I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, Drew Holiday's so underrated, and it's like just not even funny how like underrated Drew Holiday is. Drew Holiday's like a top 10 point guard and just does not get talked about.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about Chris Middleton, but I do think they need him as they did. I mean, they almost beat Boston, but I mean, he's their closer.
He is their closer.
The Kyrie to LeBron.
He's the guy that we were talking about this. I was talking about this with Luke, and I always joke around and say the Bucks' greatest strength is Giannis Antetokounmpo, while their biggest weakness is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And not that Giannis Antetokounmpo himself is the weakness, but it's basically if Chris Middleton's out, this is what the strategy is to beat the Bucks. Okay, Giannis Antetokounmpo, you can score 60 points, but we're gonna lock up and basically double team every single one of your teammates so that you just have to beat us.
Yeah.
That's how you beat when Chris Middleton's hurt. That's how you beat the Bucks. You just tell them, "Yo, Giannis, you can have as many free runs to the lane as you want. You can dunk the basketball away. We're just going to take away Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Drew Holiday, and tell you to beat us with you." You know?
That's how, and that's how to me you beat teams like the Dallas Mavericks and Luka, or whenever you have a guy like this, and teams like Boston or Brooklyn or whatever. They'll, obviously they don't want these regular season losses. I know, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll take a 1-game loss in the regular season because we're accumulating data on how to beat you, and this isn't gonna what you're doing, how you won, how you just beat us isn't gonna work in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
So they do, but I'm not worried.
So Kawhi Leonard has demanded that the Clippers make a trade for a point guard before the deadline. And he put at the top of his list Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry, his two former teammates from Toronto. Yeah. Now, this deal would probably be, if you trade Fred VanVleet's easier to trade for than Kyle Lowry. It would just be like either Marcus Morris or Norman Powell with John Wall, and that gets the deal done. You'd obviously include a pick, but like, I don't think you trade Norman, but do you trade Marcus? I don't know. The other deal I was thinking was Amir Coffey, John Wall, and Robert Covington.
Yeah, I think it'd be a deal like that for sure.
It's just difficult to see with the Clippers and everything, just because this is a team that when you look at them, they've been playing better. It's just
they've been playing really better. They're still going to deal with, like, I believe Paul and Kawhi were out last night, so they got kind of blown out by Cleveland. Cedi Osman had like 29, but They're the 4th team in the West. I heard that. I'm like, what?
No, I agree. It's just you're sitting
They have
here
a home playoff game right now.
unless Reggie Jackson or John Wall or Terrence Mann really turns a corner. I don't think that
could be the guy.
Yeah, but they said they see Terrence Mann more as a wing.
Okay.
So
Well, that's the issue though, is they have this assortment of wings.
Yeah, so that they have too many wings.
Yeah.
And I just think this team is really a solid. They don't even need a superstar point guard. They just need like Monte Morris, like a guy like that who can just come in, give you 8 points, but when needed can give you 15, and every night he's going to give you like a bunch of assists.
What
You need a
sucks, I
floor
have
general.
issues with that. Reggie Jackson last year was a freaking dog. He was a dog for this team, and it's not the same Reggie this year. So maybe I still want a distributor on this team but I'd also take a surgeon, I don't know. Just give me a guard. I don't really want Monty Morris, but just give me a guard because Reggie Jackson hasn't had a great year this year. And John Wall, that seems like it didn't work, which I can't believe.
Yeah, I can't believe it because he's shown that he still can play.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Now let's pivot and play a game that we always play at the end of the episodes. Way back music. Right here. Turtle. Who is this?
That's Landry Shamet.
All right.
Oh, you're gonna get it with the 14. Let's go.
Oh. All right, so he's a guard.
Yeah. He's a young guard. Looks like Matt Barnes if he was skinny. Like skinny face. Oh, let's go.
I'm trying to think.
Was he in the East?
Yeah, East. He's in the Southwest. I mean, Southeast.
Oh, that's Max Strud. Oh, that's Allen Robinson. Yeah. That's Dunk. Oh, dude, that's Tyler Hero. That sucks.
I knew as soon as it went to Miami because I knew he was a white guy. I knew he was a white guy because of the hair. So,
what does Duncan Robinson look like?
All right, that's going to be today's episode, guys. If you guys did enjoy today's
Dude,
show.
They're so similar. It is unreal.
Really?
Yeah.
Their haircuts, they probably go to the same barber.
It is so close. It is
same
so
barber. Same barber.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. That's going to be today's episode, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. Be a friend and tell a friend. We'll be back here tomorrow every single day at 9 a.m. Eastern time till 10 a.m. But you got anything else to say?
I'll be back in the normal stew tomorrow. So,
all right.
Yeah.
You'll be going home?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's gonna be it, guys. If you did enjoy today's show, be a friend to tell a friend. Jackson and I will be back tomorrow. I'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Yep.
Peace.